Most of us don't wake up and ask for pain. We don't look for heartbreak, betrayal, or the kind of silence that echoes through your chest at night. We avoid it, we numb it, we scroll past it, bury it in distraction, drown it in busyness, or dress it up with a fake smile. Because facing it, that feels too heavy, too real, too raw. But here's the truth. Pain doesn't just show up in your life to ruin you. It's not here to punish you. It's here to teach you, to alert you, to reveal something you've been trying not to see. Pain is the body's way of telling the truth, especially when your mind keeps making excuses. It's your soul's last resort to get your attention when you've been silencing the whispers for too long. You can ignore the red flags. You can justify the mistreatment. You can tell yourself you're fine. But the ache in your chest, the anxiety that doesn't go away, the tears that fall for no clear reason, they know better. They're the truth you keep avoiding, and the more you avoid it, the louder it gets. Maybe someone hurt you, and instead of confronting how deeply it broke you, you said, "It's okay, I'll get over it." But you didn't. You buried it. And now it leaks into your trust, your relationships, your ability to feel safe with anyone. Or maybe you've been working a job that drains your soul, in a life that looks fine on paper, but every morning feels like dragging your heart through sand. That's not normal. That's not success. That's pain trying to tell you you're not aligned anymore. You're betraying yourself. We've been conditioned to treat pain like it's something to be ashamed of. Like if we're strong enough, confident enough, spiritual enough, we won't feel it. But that's a lie. Pain isn't weakness. Pain is awareness. Pain is wisdom knocking at the door, saying something here is not right. And if you listen, really listen, it can lead you back to yourself. Because pain doesn't just break things, it exposes things. It shows you what's been neglected, suppressed, or tolerated for too long. Some people stay in painful places out of habit. They convince themselves it's love, it's loyalty, it's just a phase. But deep down, there's a voice that whispers, "This is costing you your peace." That's the voice pain wants you to hear. Not to shame you, but to awaken you. Because sometimes pain is the only thing strong enough to break the cycle, to stop you from betraying yourself again. It's easy to judge your pain, to say, "I shouldn't feel this way," or "others have it worse." But your pain is valid not because it's dramatic or loud or visible to the world, but because it's yours. And ignoring it doesn't make you stronger, it makes you more disconnected. Disconnected from your truth, disconnected from your needs, disconnected from the version of you that deserves better. Real growth starts the moment you stop running from pain and start listening to it. Start asking, what are you trying to show me? It might show you the friendship you've outgrown, the boundary you never enforced, the self-worth you've been outsourcing. It might reveal that you've been settling for less because deep down you didn't think you were worthy of more. It's not easy to face those truths, but it's necessary because what you don't face will always control you. Pain isn't the enemy. Avoidance is, numbing is, pretending is. And every time you silence your pain, you silence yourself. You teach your nervous system that your feelings are dangerous, that your needs are too much, that your gut instinct is wrong. But it's not wrong. It's been trying to protect you all along. You just didn't trust it. And now the pain is here, louder than ever, asking you to come home to yourself. There's a version of you on the other side of this pain who doesn't shrink anymore, who doesn't tolerate bare minimum love, who doesn't explain their worth or stay quiet just to keep the peace. That version of you is waiting. But you don't become them by skipping the pain. You become them by walking through it, by letting it speak, by letting it teach, and most of all, by letting it end. So if you're in pain right now, know this: it's not here to destroy you. It's here to deliver you into clarity, into healing, into alignment, into a life that no longer requires you to abandon yourself in order to feel loved, seen, or enough. Let it hurt. Let it open you. Let it show you what you've been pretending not to know. Because this pain may feel permanent, but it's not. It's just the truth. finally getting loud enough for you to hear it. We live in a world that rushes healing, a world that treats emotional pain like it should come with a deadline, like you should move on in 30 days or be labeled dramatic, bitter, or weak. And so we start performing recovery, smiling when we're still breaking, saying, "I'm fine," when the truth is, we're barely holding it together, not because we're healed, but because we're tired of being misunderstood. Tired of feeling like we need to justify our grief, explain our sadness, or apologize for still hurting. But healing doesn't work like that. It doesn't happen in neat timelines or Instagrammable quotes. It's not linear, and it's not logical. Some days you feel strong, and the next day something small, like a song, a scent, a memory, takes you all the way back to square one, and you question yourself. You wonder, why am I still stuck? But that's the thing. You're not stuck. You're just in process. You're unfolding. And that takes time. The truth is, healing looks a lot less like a victory march and a lot more like sitting with your broken pieces without judgment, letting yourself feel without numbing, crying without shame, resting without guilt. It's unlearning every toxic message that told you your emotions are a problem to be fixed rather than a truth to be honored. Because healing isn't about going back to who you were before the pain. It's about becoming someone deeper, someone wiser, someone softer but stronger, someone who no longer pretends they're okay just to be accepted. Sometimes we misunderstand pain as weakness because we forget what healing actually requires. It's not weak to feel everything deeply. It's not weak to need space, to say no, to pull back, to choose peace over pleasing. Healing asks you to be brutally honest with yourself, to sit in the discomfort of your reality, to admit what hurt you, who disappointed you, where you betrayed yourself just to be loved by someone who never truly saw you. That's not weakness, that's courage, that's growth. And maybe one of the most painful parts of healing is realizing that some people were never really with you in the first place. They liked the version of you that didn't need boundaries, the version that overgave, overstayed, overlooked. But the moment you started honoring your wounds, your voice, your worth, they called it change, they called it attitude. No, it's not attitude, it's awareness. And that's what healing does. It changes your vision. Suddenly, you don't see things the same way anymore. What you used to tolerate becomes intolerable. What once felt like love now feels like survival. You stop confusing comfort with peace. You stop calling chaos passion. You wake up to the ways you've been abandoning yourself for approval. Healing is remembering who you were before the world taught you who to be. It's coming home to yourself. And that journey, it's lonely sometimes. Because not everyone will understand the new version of you, the version that doesn't explain, doesn't chase, doesn't beg, the version that sets boundaries, that walks away quietly, that chooses self-respect over familiar pain. And yes, it hurts to lose people, but it hurts more to lose yourself just to keep them. You're allowed to heal at your own pace. You're allowed to take the long way, to fall apart and rebuild slowly. You're allowed to change your mind, to grieve what you thought would last forever, to mourn the parts of yourself that kept you surviving but no longer serve the life you're building. This isn't failure. It's a necessary shedding. Growth always asks for something in return, and often it asks you to let go. Let go of who you were when you were surviving. Let go of who they expected you to be. Let go of the mask, the performance, the pretending. This process isn't always pretty. It won't always be visible to the world. There are no awards for emotional resilience, no applause for crying in the dark, for choosing to feel instead of avoid. But those quiet moments, the ones where you face your pain instead of fleeing from it, those are the moments that build you, that restore you, that transform you from the inside out. So if you're in a season of healing, give yourself grace. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're rebuilding, and that takes time. Let yourself be messy, let yourself be human, let yourself be exactly where you are without apology. You don't owe anyone a timeline for your transformation. You don't need to prove your progress. Healing doesn't shout, it whispers. It whispers in moments of peace after years of chaos, in the quiet confidence that grows where anxiety once lived, in the decisions you make now that you couldn't make before. You're healing every time you choose yourself, every time you rest instead of push, every time you feel instead of numb, every time you walk away from something that doesn't honor your spirit. So stop judging your journey by how quickly it happens. The fact that you're healing at all after everything is enough. The purpose of this pain is not to break you, it's to bring you back to you. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from pain. Not the loud, glamorous strength we see in movies, the kind with fists and fire, but the soft, steady kind. The kind that shows up in your voice when you finally speak your truth, in the way you carry yourself after being cracked open and still choosing to stand. It's not about being unaffected, it's about being deeply affected and still showing up to your life with intention. That's what pain teaches you. It teaches you how to survive, but even more than that, it teaches you how to see differently, how to see through people, through illusions, through your own masks. Because when life brings you to your knees, everything becomes a little clearer. You begin to notice the way you used to tolerate things you never should have. You start to recognize the places where you settled, shrunk, or sacrificed parts of yourself to feel worthy. You see the relationships where you begged for crumbs and called it love. Pain has a way of stripping away the noise. It pulls you out of autopilot. It makes you stop and question, why was I okay with that? And it's not because you were weak, it's because you were unaware. But pain brings awareness, it wakes you up, it sharpens your instincts, you become more discerning, more cautious, not closed off, but wise. You don't just give people access to your heart because they show up. You wait, you observe, you trust the energy over the words. And maybe for a while that makes you feel cold, maybe you'll question yourself, wondering if you've become too guarded, too distant. But the truth is, you're not colder, you're clearer. You've learned the difference between connection and attachment, between genuine care and convenience, between someone who sees you and someone who uses you. And clarity is a painful gift, but it's a necessary one. When you've been hurt, it's easy to look back and wonder how you didn't see it sooner. But don't shame yourself for who you were before the pain. That version of you did their best with what they knew, and more than anything, that version of you loved deeply, trusted openly, gave everything they had. And that's not something to regret. It's something to honor. That old version of you made this new version possible. There's a beauty in realizing that you're not the same person anymore. You don't react the same. You don't chase the same validation. You don't break the same. You've become someone who values peace over performance, alignment over attention. You've learned that sometimes love means letting go, that being chosen isn't the same as being respected, that the way someone treats you in your most vulnerable moments reveals everything you need to know. And that's the kind of truth you can't learn from books. It has to be lived. It has to be felt. You begin to realize that the pain didn't come to punish you, it came to grow you. It didn't come to destroy your softness, it came to deepen your capacity for real love, for true empathy, for sacred boundaries. And when you look at the world through that lens, you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this here to teach me? That shift changes everything, because suddenly you're not a victim of your pain, you're a student of it. You don't just carry the scars, you carry the wisdom. The beauty of pain is that it doesn't just change what you see, it changes how you see. You begin to appreciate the small things again, the quiet mornings, the people who stay, the conversations that feel safe, the peace that lives in your body when you're no longer walking on eggshells. You start noticing your own growth in real time when you pause instead of reacting, when you choose silence over explanation, when you hold your ground instead of shrinking for comfort. That's evolution. That's healing in motion. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about coming back home to who you were before the world told you who to be. And it's not always easy. Sometimes clarity breaks your heart, but it also sets you free. You start letting go of people you once thought you couldn't live without, not out of anger, but out of love for yourself. You realize that holding on was costing you your peace, that waiting for them to change was keeping you stuck, that your healing can't depend on their apology. And that's the moment you start reclaiming your power. So if you're in that space right now, navigating the aftermath, sitting in the tension between who you were and who you're becoming, let yourself breathe, let yourself grieve, let yourself get honest. This pain has a purpose. It's showing you what you no longer align with. It's forcing you to build a life that fits the truth of who you are, not the performance of who you used to be. It's creating the version of you who no longer tolerates what once felt normal. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's messy. But clarity doesn't come to keep you comfortable. It comes to keep you aligned. You're not broken. You're just becoming someone who no longer breaks in the same places.